Hi, everybody. This is another Divine Awakenings episode 12 now. And I'm really excited to have a soul brother, Harry, join us today. And Harry, I've been trying to get you on this for a long time. You was the first download I got, the name that came to me at the beginning of this Divine Awakenings episode that came to me. And it just wasn't the right time, divine timing. And now it is. And so Harry is really focused on holistic health, supporting people, really focusing on going within and looking at and healing the traumas that have been keeping him stuck in limiting beliefs and programs, and really wanting to help other people do the same, and really finding his purpose and living that as much as he can as he continues his healing journey. And so you've got a social media presence where you are reflecting everything that you are learning within that space, and any traumas or healing that you have been going through. You're authentically and openly really sharing that, which I love. And you're an author with 9 books, which is amazing. And so we synchronistically, again, today's synchronistic, but we
Yeah.
synchronistically connected in Thailand. I knew you were going to be out there. I said, "Oh yeah, let's see if we can meet up."
Mm.
And it just didn't happen in Bangkok, and for many reasons, because it's just busy life. And then lo and behold, in Koh Phangan, you somebody on a moped drives past. I see the back of your head, and I'm
Yeah.
shout, "Harry!" And you turn around, and I was like, "Oh my god, the chances of that!" And then it was great
Yeah.
because we got to spend some time together in Thailand, which was lovely. And so, yeah, we met about 3 years ago now at a retreat, and obviously we've connected throughout that time. So thank you so much for being on this channel and sharing, your divine awakenings, how you are stepping into your purpose, and really becoming and embodying the truest you, the version of you that hasn't got, all of these labels and belief systems, and really trying to rewrite your story, because we're all on a journey, right, of becoming back to the true self. And how is that been playing out for you over since you're, have you always been, let's start with this, have you always been aware of the spiritual side, and have you always been aware of that?
Syra, the answer is no, but I want to backtrack on synchronicities because the synchronicities that me and you met in Thailand was phenomenal. And synchronicities today, because I've been on a journey where I've always found it easy to do what I'm doing with you right now, but I've been off this for like 2 or 3 years' time. And now today, outside of our interview, my mind was telling me you need to get back onto building a business, doing interviews with people, doing the things you find easy online, and then stepping on the outside. So now you're stepping up by doing all these interviews outside your comfort zone. And I'm going to get back onto what you're doing now, which I find my comfort zone. And then I'm now next year going to start stepping outside my comfort zone to help people, not just online, but in the real world. So it's mad, the synchronicities of today. I just wanted to say that to you. And no, I haven't always been like I think now, and synchronicities and God and all these things. I've been programmed, right? I was very programmed, and um I know about you, sorry, but a lot of us in the communities have been damaged and traumatized by our families. I think God's created it that I call it God, but God's created it that our families, those that are supposed to love us as best as possible unconditionally, come in our lives. And I also believe we chose them, which is a whole nother story. And then they try their best, but unconditional love turns into very conditional love or some kind of control, whether that's physical abuse on children, whether that's emotional abuse, whether that's lowering the worth of an unconditionally loving child. And it all starts to go wrong for a lot of us, including myself, when we were kids from very young. And that sets us a little bit apart from this mad world of suffering, because everyone suffers in this world. Everyone's going to have someone they love die. Everyone's going to have heartbreak. But some of us, I believe, are chosen to go through more suffering so that they can figure out the suffering and so that they can learn the process of how they heal. Because some people do heal without consciously explaining it. But I've noticed people in our communities like me and you, I can explain my process and the action steps of the outer game and also my inner game work that I've done to heal. So I am stepping into my role, just as you are, as um, divinely placed to consciously use my voice to spread the word of what I've learned so that I don't see other people suffer, because that's the only reason. We just want our peace and to heal, but deep down we know that it feels really good to help other people because this world is going through a collective trauma. There are other families with children getting mucked up. And now, sorry, interrupt me if I'm talking too long, but now with the age of the internet, the game is changing. Like now we've got the internet, people are connecting, people are learning about narcissism, people are learning about how to heal from all kinds of things. People are dating online on Facebook. So now in the age of the internet, it's we are possible, me and you. We've met in physical, but we only know each other through Facebook, right? I mean, it all starts on Facebook. I mean, I don't actually know, sorry, but a lot of the people I've met are all on social media, and it's an honor to be a part of that because that was my comfort zone. I started off in social media and now I feel like I've got to start not just being on social media, I've got to move to the real world. So yeah.
Yeah, we can get in, and thank you for sharing that. We can get into our comfort zone with like hiding behind maybe a screen. And obviously lockdown, there was a lot of more social media online presence. And I think for many of us, it's like now it's time to get out there and get in the balance with that. And so something that you said about, the trauma that there's a collective trauma, and obviously there's individual trauma that we all go through, and how to really break free from the suffering that can cause, because suffering is from the mind, right? But we do have trauma
Yeah.
in the body. And
Yeah.
so what's been your realization or your process with starting to identify the trauma and really release the suffering that you've been met with, shall we say?
That's a great question, and I love these questions because they make me think about things that I honestly don't self-reflect enough of, which is why I need to step into my power more. I need to process better, but I can tell you that my process, all is divinely guided, first of all. So God set this up, but the process I started was I became I had my trauma with my family, control, very deeply insecure, and not being able to socialize with girls that I was attracted to because I'm a young boy. Puberty was one thing, but I never learned how to socialize with guys either. I got into a really bad headspace. So funny enough, God set it up that I got myself involved in facing my fears, talking to girls, and that was talking to girls on the streets. So like what they call cold approach pickup, which is actually a beautiful art. It's not like most people think. But what it taught me was to learn social skills, learn to connect with people because I was so in my head, I had no social skill. I still am, but I was a really bad people pleaser. I remember laughing. All I did with my friends was I just laughed at everything. Even when I didn't find it funny. And some of the boys were like, why are you just laughing at everything? And I remember this now. It's because I was just desperate for attention. I had no social skills. So the first step I took was I was forced to do something that most guys don't want to do, which is talk to beautiful girls on the streets or in clubs or in the shops. Most guys don't want to do this. Now, don't get me wrong, it was at the time it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life because before I could even talk to girls, I had a challenge where I just had to ask an old person for the time. I don't think you're going to believe this. I had to ask an old person for the time. I went to my city and asked old people for the time. Now, I spent 3 hours with this challenge and I didn't have the confidence. I was in such fear. I couldn't ask an old man or woman for the time. And I felt so bad on the bus that I actually cried. Like, so tune into the fear that was present in my body. Well, I couldn't actually walk up to an old person and ask for the time. Um, and what I did was I felt bad about that, right? So I progressively learned how to talk to strangers and put the pressure off. Then I started talking to the hardest of all, the ones that make your heart pop in your chest because you're worried about judgments, you're worried the girl's going to reject you, all these things. So I just learned the skill, the divine skill to me of how to connect with another human being. And I went for the girls. And in that process, I became very authentic at talking to girls I don't know, which is a struggle for guys because most guys are in their head. They want something from the girl and they want to sleep with them straight away. But I just got used to the process of like giving value and being authentic with a girl. So long story short, facing my fears, because I had so much fears, and my fear of talking to people because I'm a human and I need to connect with people, right? I want to connect with girls and guys. And it went beyond girls. I just wanted friends. I had no friends. So that was my major, looking back at it, step, the what's considered by some like a low consciousness thing, wanting to sleep with loads of girls. Even though that was my intention, that wasn't my high vibration mission. Because I actually never got good at that skill. I got good at approaching girls and connecting with them, but thank God I never mastered the art of getting them into the bedroom, and that was all looking back at it divine. So yeah, that's to answer your question, facing my fears and socializing with people.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. And it's like, fear, it's false evidence appearing real, but it can be so debilitating. It can literally it puts you in that fight or flight, and it can stop people from doing anything they really passionate about and truly love. And they look back on their life, and it's like, if only I just did that one thing and I wasn't bound by fear. And so the only
Yeah,
way to really do anything that makes us that that where there's fear is just to dive it deep
do it.
straight in, and once you're over that, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I was so fearful of that. And so, yeah, it's so important to really look at that. And, sometimes it's like we can go straight to, like you were saying, you had to start small and start, even though you could have,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
then go to the
Yeah, yeah.
girls, right?
A lot. See, in this society, it's this society, I believe, is set up with a lot of processes that are going to stop you being happy. And one of the tricks they do is they want you to run before you can walk. And if you can't, if you try, you might generally want to be happy, but you have to go through the processes of learning these steps. You're a baby and a child in a system that wants you like to gives you candy like a baby. The system goes, oh, look, here's the candy. You can have this short-term happiness now. But you have to learn, if you want true happiness, and to truly grow from face to face, you have to go through process and you have to be happy with the process. And I struggle with this too. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if it's my numerology numbers, but I honestly struggle. Like I want the results quicker, but I like training myself just to go through processes and be happy in the moment with the little be happy as you take your action steps towards your unique fears. Be happy with the progress. And the trick is they want you to compare yourself with other people, but you should be happy because you've never done that thing before. It's your fear. And if you're taking that first action step, you do actually feel good after. You're self-aware to know that you're not an expert or a master of that field. No one's an idiot here. You're aware to know that you're not a master. And that doubt is always going to be there, but you override that doubt by just keep doing baby steps, baby steps, baby steps, baby steps. And like I told you before, I find it easy to talk to you now, like talking like this. For me, in 2015, which isn't that long ago, me doing this with you, I couldn't imagine it. I was like shy. I hadn't, not only could I not imagine it, I felt like I had nothing to say. So I felt like I had no worth or anything to say. And second, I'm trying to hide. So I train myself, and that's with any fear. You just got to keep going. You can't be a master in a day, eh? The journey of 10,000 miles starts with one single step. So yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, if not now, when to start that journey? And so let's trace this back then. So is there anything particular that, you know, was that had created this debilitating fear for you you've traced back and gone, okay, this is the root cause, because we do have to go to the root cause. We can't just
Yeah.
we can't put a plaster on it, or just take pills and it's done, whatever, which many of us do, and there's a place for that, of course, where that might help, but eventually we have to get to that root cause. And was that
Yeah.
something how was that process for you, in doing that and unraveling, and then helping yourself heal that?
Yeah, I think, Syra, the root cause is people that let you down. Because I think in this perfect world, in a perfecter world, everyone would be unconditionally loving and there would be no trauma. But in this world that we live in, you expect and should receive unconditional love and support on your journey as a baby from your family and your loved ones, because they're your caregivers, they're your receivers. You're giving out unconditional love and you don't receive it back. And as you grow older as a child, your parents, so I'm saying for me, my dad was interesting topic is narcissism. Like, and my dad was a covert narcissist. So there's ones that are outwardly expressive as grandiose, very delusional, very hateful. And then sometimes I think the worst ones are covert narcissists because they go under the radar to people that don't know them, but the their true nasty self that destroys children like us gets affected by it gets affected by um like their family units, the people they're supposed to love. So they take out their trauma. You don't really know somebody until they're in your family, right? So my family, my dad, I've got an interesting story. I don't want to talk too long, but my dad was covert narcissist, and he was an emotional abuser bad, but also he was a physical abuser. So I got emotional and physically abused. My brother and sister too. Um, my sister had the same situation as me, and her life path was one where she decided not to grow from it, and that's okay. And um, that caused her envy of me, which she sits to this day. So my sister don't like me. Says, but I'm not saying as a victim. These are all things where I have to unpack and forgive. I'm just telling you the what fucks people up. So I had my dad fuck up me, my sister, my brother, and then my brother. If you, this one people might not believe, but my brother was actually born a psychopath. So I had and this is a controversial topic. I'm okay, people don't believe me, but he was born this way. So I had like the perfect mix to make me motivated to heal. And it was started within my family. And then I'm gonna say honestly, Syra, it wasn't my fault because I was a kid, but I'm gonna say it was my fault after a teenager when I didn't understand that I could change. Because I had no idea about self-improvement. I didn't know about self-improvement till I was 25. That's how controlled I was by my parents. I don't know where I was hiding under a rock. So I was getting worse, and yeah, my family, and then lack of friends, because of what my family abuse. So it was bad. It was covert. It was a family unit where on the surface everything's perfect. I had a rich, middle class. Went to private school, um, but under the surface it was. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to complain, but I'm just saying that if you ask your question, all trauma, I think, all trauma starts in the family. And then as we go on in life, it turns into our friends. We choose the wrong friends because they teach us lessons. And they're either more narcissistic than us. And then, of course, relationships. And you get lessons in relationships because one partner is more narcissistic than the other. And we're all a little bit narcissistic. So we're learning lessons from people. Trauma only comes from one place. It's from people, from other people. See, and there's no other place trauma comes from. It's from people.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And for those like who are curious, like how would you define a narcissist? How does that look,
Oh.
you know?
So I was telling you before that I've had interesting life experiences, and I'm certainly not an expert like all these people on Facebook, YouTube that I watch today quite a lot. But this world has so many different personality disorders. And the reason is because the brain and the pure light of yourself has to protect itself from the trauma that other people put upon you. So the brain can fragment into all kinds of different ways. And when the brain fragments into all kinds, because the suffering is that bad, when the brain fragments in all these various ways, it gives out all kinds of personality disorders. So we've got MPD, we've got all kinds of narcissists, covert, malignant, we've got borderline personality disorder, we've got multiple personality disorder, we've got psychopathy, sociopathy. All of those that I've said are by the world. And what was the question again? Sorry, I've forgotten my brain.
So I think we were just talking about just going back to see what a narcissist looks
Oh,
like.
sorry. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. Sorry. Okay, so uh, um, we all suffer, right, with varying degrees and blind spots of self-awareness. If we were completely 100% aware, we would be enlightened right now and recognize and feel no separation, unconditional love. So that's the first thing to clarify. Everyone's on a varying vibration scale. The vibration scale, to me, is determined by your a degree of. Here's the thing. People think that it's vibration. Your vibration is determined by how you see other people. Now, Syra, I used to believe too that your vibration is determined by how well you see other people. But I've had certain narcissists come into my life to teach me divine lessons to make me realize that's not true. Your vibration, your awareness is your vibration. How conscious you are is determined by how self-aware you are of yourself and how good you are at being honest with yourself and the lies you tell about yourself. Because in this world, there's so much trauma put upon us. And the mind gets so fragmented, you can't admit the abuse you've been through because it's too painful. Because you've been through that much sexual abuse when you're a kid, that much physical abuse, it was too far to go. So the brain automatically dissociates and lies to itself. And narcissism is very interesting because this is what fooled me with narcissists in my life. That's been relationships, many relationships. So what got me is I'm a conscious, self-aware individual, but then some girls have come into my life that are very aware generally of other people. So like I said at the beginning, they're very aware of other people. And so I always thought, Syra, that, like the meme says, like, if you're aware of other people, it means you're aware of yourself. You heard of that meme before, right? That's actually not true because in narcissism, they can be so deeply aware of other people because one of my exes, she was so aware and compassionate, I must admit, she was compassionate and aware of me that it fooled me into thinking automatically she must be aware of herself. But actually, in narcissism, they can be on point, deadly on point and compassionate towards other people. But when it comes to themselves and what we call self awareness and what we call accountability, so because what narcissists do is they can tell you night and day all of your flaws from a compassion place or not, but they have no accountability for their actions. And they also don't realize narcissists, they're so unself aware that they project all of their shadow onto you. So, narcissists in my life have called me an extreme narcissist. Now, what got me was, yes, I am narcissistic and I'm acting like narcissistic, but what they were doing was a narcissist can't handle what they are because their mind is fragmented. So in the subconscious goes the denial, right? Their narcissism. It goes into the subconscious. And then they accuse their partner of being the very thing they are. It's called projection. We all do projection. And narcissists are the worst projectors. And how frustrating is it, Syra, when someone projects on you and you can see them doing it? They're doing it, but I got fooled. I got fooled. And only so that's narcissism. And I got fooled in my relationships. Oh, I want to confess as well. Sorry, I've been with 3 relationships, and I've been reflecting on this. This is my trauma and my divine God. Every single of my partners was more narcissistic than me. Every single of my partners was a covert spiritual narcissist that I attracted. Not that I'm a better person. I needed the lesson. And oh, sorry. How have I reflected and spotted this? The easiest way to spot them. Okay, the easiest way that everyone can spot them is, unfortunately, only when you break up with them. Because what happens is a normal human, when you break up with them, when you break up with a normal human, you feel bad, you feel guilty, right? And you tell them, I'm sorry, I loved you, but I need to move on to someone else. What narcissists do is they discard you like a hot potato, like you don't even exist. To them, to, they discard you like a hot potato and it hurts. And then you start to see that you never saw me as a human. And the reason they discard is because they think in their heads the relationship went wrong 100% because of you, because they can't take any accountability and they have no self-awareness. So they fully blame you 100%. Don't get me wrong. Every of my relationships, I've made huge mistakes. But I like to think in most relationships a bit of 50-50, right? Where we go right and wrong. But for a narcissist, no. They will maintain it's 100% you're wrong. They'll discard you like a hot potato. And then once they've discarded you, they'll go and find another friend or person quickly to love bomb and to be with because they don't want to feel the guilt and shame of discarding you, so they need to find new supply. It's a mad world, and it's. Do you know what I think? Sorry, I think narcissism is the biggest endemic mental disorder of them all that fucks people up. There's a lot of them out there, but the most common and the most hurtful and harming. I know it's my experience, so I'm biased, but actually when I think about it, covert narcissism and it really destroys people. Sorry, I talked long
Yeah.
there.
No, it's great and it's brilliant. Oh my God. I mean, your awareness, right, of the journey that you've gone through, this is beautiful because life's always happening for us, right? And not to us. And so when you start to reflect back, and when you're in a relationship, you're in it, you can't see the woods through the trees. It's only when you come out of it, you
Yeah.
have, hindsight's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. And so you're like, why didn't I see these blind spots? And so, we can get gaslighted when we're in these scenarios
Yes,
because,
great word, gaslighted. That's what narcissists are very good at. They rewrite the
yeah,
story and
yeah,
they make out that it's all you. And you know another
mhm,
trick? It's not like they don't tell you a truth about yourself because my shadow was honestly exposed. So this is my blessing from my narcissist ex. They've exposed my shadow, but the
mhm,
thing is, they exaggerated it or they saw it as it is, but they don't realize that they created the silent treatment and control of the relationship, created my shadow to come out. It wasn't a healthy relationship. By the way, you can't ever have a healthy relationship with a narcissist because the underlying theme of a narcissist relationship, a narcissist, is they control you. And if someone controls you in a relationship, you can't be your wild, free, authentic, relaxed personality. That's impossible. In relationships, none's perfect, but in a healthy relationship, you learn to accept the differences in your partners. In a narcissistic relationship, from the very beginning, after the love bombing and all this perfection nonsense, after 2, 3 months, they'll start controlling the relationship. And my weakness was I don't stand in my power. And I knew underlying something was going on, but I couldn't bring myself to admit that my exes, particularly my last one, was controlling me. Like, I didn't want to believe it, Syra. I guess I really didn't want to believe it. It's a hard process. The only time you can believe it is when you get discarded. When you get discarded, you can't deny it. And I got discarded like I didn't exist with no guilt, by the way. No guilt. No guilt. No.
yeah. And what are your thoughts on, hurt people?
Yeah, that's the story of the world. Like, if
Mm,
we don't step up as a collective, like everything's perfect. I'm just here to encourage people, yeah? If we think that life is just okay when everyone here comes with some kind of trauma, whether that be from society and its instant gratification nonsense or from people harming us, if they think it's okay just to be okay, when all I can see around me is people pretending to be happy, I'm not judgmental too much, but I can see a disconnection where we are meant to be unconditionally loving and 99.999% of us are not, including myself. And it's a journey, yeah? And it bothers me because now I know that we have to heal our trauma. Because the more we heal our trauma, the more authentic we can be, the more we can bring up loving children, the more we can have loving relationships, the less control we give, the more we surrender to God, the more flow we can feel, the more happy we can heal, and the more physically healthy you heal. Because I think the root cause of all physical health diseases is spiritual issues. Like,
mm,
it's you can take care of it with physical, don't get me wrong, but
mhm.
the very core, all these cancers and all these, they're because people are hurting on the inside and they don't want to admit it, but then the body doesn't lie, right? So if you're being nasty, you have evil thoughts, you're being narcissistic, you will get some kind of disease. It's like God punishment, like wakey wakey, here's your disease. It didn't come by accident, not just because of your diet, it's because you're a nasty person, you need to change. All these things.
Yeah, and I think, because everything's energetic, it's the emotions it's all with the emotions, isn't it? And so, like,
Yeah.
cancer's like anger. So if you've got anger issues, it's really looking at that, and this could be ancestral and things like that. And
Yeah.
so, obviously, you've been attracting these narcissists in your life to really show you what obviously needs to be looked at within yourself. Would
Yeah.
you say that you have finally healed that part of you that was being asked to step up so you don't come back into another cycle and attract another
Well,
narcissist?
I'll put it out there, like I told you before. You know me, Cyrus. So I'm going to make the claim to you, and hopefully I'll step up the man. But I do feel in my heart that one, two, three, three relationships out of three, the last one being probably the most, not just because it's the most recent, the discard on the last one and all the delusions being so painful, and the situation that she was dating my best friend. So that has hurt so much that I can't let that. I can see the patterns, what I'm trying to say. And I'm never going to allow a girl into my life and I'm never going to be fooled again. Because the thing is, Syra, I was conscious and aware of patterns long before these narcissist exes came in. I was aware, but I wasn't aware of this covert spiritual narcissism. This one really fooled me. They spoke my language, but they're not self-awareness. And like I said to you, this whole vibration scale, all the way up to enlightenment, is defined by one thing: not how aware you are of other people. That's cool because you can trick people, and that is good because we want to be aware. I want to be aware of you. You want to be aware of me. You want to be aware of other people. But the core of the problems that humanity got, which is why only you can save yourself, is how self-aware can you? How honest can you be yourself? Honesty starts, I think, from recognizing that we are all living in separation. Like, we know this when we sit and talk, and I know this about myself because when I sit and talk to my friends, if we look at conversations, like, I know my brain, like, we're talking, and then you know when someone's in their head, and I know when you're talking, sometimes I know I'm not listening. Like, I'm not listening, I'm not in present, and then sometimes you say something that pops in my head, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, I just want to say my thing now, so I wait for you to finish speaking, and I say my thing. And what that is because we think we're feeling separation. But when you get to the highest levels of awareness of trauma, and we're all going to make it, the good news we're all going to make it. There is no feeling of separation. There is only unconditional love. The unconditional love you had, Syra, when you had Sophia, when she was a baby, that, even though I've never had kids, that feeling of unconditional love is what we can permanently access, all humans, with all people. And that's a dream of a lot of us in the community because we're all suffering. The people that suffer so bad, like myself and others, I feel that pain so deeply that I don't want that. I want at some point in my life to be unconditionally loving, not just to my partner, to my friends, but to the whole world. Because that's how, by the way, God, who created us, God created us, and God is love, and God is unconditional love. God is unconditional love. He's not conditional love like the Christians think. He's not Mr. Judgy. God is unconditional love. And God is so loving that he's given us the opportunity to work through suffering here. And working through suffering, the contrast, he gives us the opportunity to go on a hero's journey back to God whilst living on earth over many lives. I'm talking about reincarnation because Christians are wrong. You can't get the job done in one go. That's ridiculous. Everyone knows that's serious about themselves, how hard it is to change in this life. It's bloody ridiculous to claim that someone's going to go back to God, unconditional love, in one lifetime. So it takes a long time, and that's the journey that God's created. God is unconditional love. God creates his children, which is us. Every soul is a child of God, not just Christians, every soul. And God wants all souls to go back to him, which means God wants every human on earth to feel to feel for himself the unconditional love that he feels for us. God wants a mutual relationship with us for his children. And this, coming back to the trauma, this world is so fragmented and suffering that God doesn't judge, his unconditional love. But I bet you he feels a little sad that his children are a little lost. You know, like when you have kids, you have your kids and that you unconditionally love your kids, but sometimes you have to put boundaries, and you have to tell them you're naughty and you are disappointed with them. You don't put that heavy tone of disappointment, but you want better for your kids. You still unconditional. There's still the theme of unconditional love, but you try and help them grow, and you forgive them, is what I'm trying to say. Forgiveness. And that is what God does to us over many multiple lives of reincarnation. God never judges us. Doesn't matter if you're Hitler or Stalin, you think God judges you. Nope, you're wrong. God doesn't judge you. But when you die, from people's near death experiences, what does happen is you judge you, which is the genius system of God. You judge yourself from a space of unconditional love. And the only way to get this, sorry, the only way to make someone that's evil, as say, go Stalin here, okay? So Stalin dies, he's evil. The only way to make him remorseful and want to change is to get a life review. And in the life review, in the tone of unconditional love, there he is shown, Stalin is shown the pain and suffering of the millions of people that he's killed. Now, it happens outside of time and space. In when you die, 1 second is 1 second. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's outside time and space. So in the blink of an eye, Stalin feels the the pain and suffering. The quantum life review, I call it, and this is not bullshit. This is near death experience, all these things. So Stalin had to go through a process of feeling the pain of killing millions of people. And when he was undergoing his life review, it would have been very fucking painful. Yeah. But if it wasn't for the non-judgment from the angels and God, they love him. They look at him like he's a naughty child. He's not a bad person to them. He's just lost his way. So he's just a little child, naughty, but he feels generally remorseful because he now experiences for the first time. Stalin experiences the pain of millions of death. Me and you know, if we kill one person here, that is going to be very painful. Every action you have here, but I'm talking a lot of time. Every action you have here, every action you do here has a consequence, and we can prove this, I think, because of the life review. Everyone here has a life review. Every action you do, good or bad, you will be shown when you die. And also, it goes deeper. Every word you say to someone, it goes even deeper. If you hate somebody in your thoughts only, that will be shown to you too. So, so Stalin would it would be Stalin's life for you would be so unbearable that he would be in pain outside time and space, and he'd be crying out for God, and he'd say, God, I am so sorry. Please forgive me. I never knew the pain and suffering I've caused these million people. And he'd be crying, and then he'd go, please, God, give me another chance, please. And because our God is all loving and all forgiving, he goes, okay, I'm going to leave you here, and I'm going to wait for an opportunity for a soul for you to experience your karma. So Stalin might have come back as a victim of abuse, severe abuse. He might have been born into, because that's how God redirects his children. He doesn't punish us. Karma, cause and effect. To redirect your children, children have to be seeing the consequences of your action. If you've done overall bad and you didn't even know it, in your life review, you are gonna what Jesus calls repent, because you're gonna feel the pain you caused, and God is gonna give you another chance as another soul to experience the damage that you've done to other people, and then you can learn to be a victim. Instead of Stalin being an abuser, now he's the victim. And his life review will be a bit nicer because he's been a victim, right? And we keep reincarnating and all these things. But I've gone completely off topic. I got excited with near-death experiences.
Go with the flow. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
No,
I'm
I
sorry.
love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. And I think what you were saying before about just circling back, because I just want to recap on what you were saying around it's not about the awareness like of other people, it's about the awareness you have within yourself. And
Yes. And it's a
that,
very personal thing, Syra. So here's the thing. You can lie to people with your words, but you can't lie to yourself. This is a very internal person. You can tell me, I can tell you I am very self-aware, but trust me, with my words, I can be a liar. And this is where it gets confusing. And this is where narcissists lie to themselves. I'm lying to myself right now because I'm in separation. So yeah, sorry. Yeah. It's about yourself.
no,
It's to yourself. Do you honor yourself? And by the way, we're all the same person, right? We're all one. So you're not when you lie to another person, you're lying to yourself.
yeah.
But you
And
have
that,
to be honest with yourself, and that's where it on the higher levels, it takes deep bravery, and it's the ultimate fear, because I think ultimately to get to the highest levels of enlightenment, which is going to mean you see the world through God's eyes, unconditional love, you have to die to yourself. And what I'm trying to say to you is you have to be so aware of yourself that it's going to feel like you it's going to feel like dying. So we're all afraid of physical death, but the one that even everyone's going to die. Like, this is my young boy mindset. Everyone's going to die. So in my head, I think, when the time is right for you in this incarnation or many afterwards, why don't you be brave and die before you die? Be so brutally honest with yourself and surrender. And it's weird, Sarah, because I, I'm a long way from that place, but I've had little experiences in my body where I know what dying before you die feels like. I've taken cannabis cakes, if I'm being honest. I've taken quality cannabis edibles once, and it felt like I was dying before I die. I used an external source, and all I can tell you was that my soul sank back into my body perfectly, and there was nowhere for there was nowhere for me to identify with. I was in the middle of nowhere, dying. the great unknown. I was literally, there's nothing to hold on to, no identity. I am not Harry. There's nothing to hold on to. It's the scariest feeling in the world. Dying before you die. And by the way, that's why we fear death, because death is also the same pain, right? We don't know when we're going to die, but we've died many times, and the people, even in the spiritual community, don't understand the concept truly of dying before you die. It's scary. It's the bravest thing to do. This world is mad. Jesus done it. Buddha done it, and there's actually a lot of people on YouTube that have done it now. We're in the Great Awakening, so I've seen on YouTube there's more people than ever that have died before they died. They're just tiny people with not much ego, so we'll never know about them, Syra. They're not like me talking and blagging all these things. But yeah, the game is to go to experience life as God, and that's what God wants. And if we truly hate evil and trauma, like we say we do, and our journey's perfect, the only way to stop hate and trauma upon other people is to step off the chessboard. Because what I'm saying is, if me and you hate bad people that have hurt us, that's really cool and that is really good. But that's not the ultimate level. Because if you're hating bad people, you're still feeding bad people. You're playing duality game. You need to step off the chessboard because God is off the chessboard. God doesn't play the game of your God doesn't play the game of you're good and because everyone's equal, right? God created us all equal. So he sees us all equal. He doesn't play, he goes, God doesn't go, you're a good person, I like you, and you're a bad person. But we do that because we have trauma, because we have people have deeply hurt us. And the more we heal, the less attached we get to hating people that have hurt us, right? I've certainly noticed on my journey, the people like my dad, my exes, as I've gone along, I don't hate them as much as I would have done if I hadn't healed. And as I heal more, I start loving them more, you know, like because I'm starting to check because genuine spiritual people are starting to step off the chessboard. Like I'm on this journey where I don't want to hate evil. Like I'm aware of it, I'm very aware of it, and it hurts. I've been burnt by people, but I want to play that game, and yeah. Anyway, yeah. So,
Yeah, no, it's oh my God, like I could just listen to hear you talk
yes.
for ages. But yeah, we are going through the Great Awakening, and this is highlighting more of, how we are being asked to be embodied and be more godlike and bringing in that, heaven on earth, right? Like we're here
Yeah.
to make the shift and bring back the essence of who we are. And we have to go through these trials and tribulations, if you will, and go through the processes. And now it's like instead of finger pointing, it's like no, finger
Yes.
point back at ourselves and
Yes.
getting a torch and really
Well, here's
highlighting.
okay. So here's my perspective and my journey, Syra. So as
Mm,
good as it is to stand, look, there's nothing wrong with being against COVID and against abuse and being political and all these things. But let me tell you the deepest truth: you're fighting fire with fire, and you can never change the outer. And I'll tell you why. Because the outer is only a reflection of our separation of our lack of the outer problems. The madness of that is a reflection of, remember what I said about self-awareness? So the degree to which as a collective and if you as an individual lie to yourself and are not self-aware, we create the problems out there. So the only true way, and this is my mission, the only true way, this is my entire journey, the only true way I'm going to do this is I don't care too much. As long as they let me do my inner work and meet people and all these things, the way you fight the system is through self-awareness. And like we said earlier, it's through deep honesty with yourself. Because I know you and me have met, and I don't want to judge, even though I do, and this is my journey. But I have met people that are spiritual as fuck on the outside, super spiritual. But when you meet them, you get this really weird vibe that there's something off. They're talking the talk, and they are not walking the walk. And what that is a big fat lying to themselves. And by the way, that's not for me to be heavy in judgment too much on them. If I met them, by the way, I'd be friends with them and cool. I wouldn't be best friends with them, but I'd be nice to them. And I'm thinking, oh, that's cool. Yeah, yeah, thank you. Because they do teach you, right? They've got the right words, so they're helping people. But the deepest levels of this game of delusion is radical, deep honesty with yourself, about yourself, and about where you're at, what is separation, What is unconditional love? How often do you feel unconditional love? Be so honest with yourself and notice that I only conditionally love my friends and I don't really like strangers. And be honest with yourself to the point where you think, oh, I had a thought where I judged that person at the and that fat person walking by me on the streets. It's that kind of self-awareness and that radical honesty that we know is what we have to heal because everyone is created equal. Judgments on other people is a lie. And God, not that God judges, um, sorry, what I'm trying to say is, Syra, if you judge other people, it's going to give you not just karma in the next life, it gives you instant karma in this life. What I mean is, the more you judge other people, the more unhappy you immediately are in your head. Your mind goes more into separation, and your mind goes into pride, and that feeling emotion creates pride when someone sticks the obvious one is when someone sticks their chest out like this and you can they're
Mm,
what we've seen them, right? Toxic pride. And what that is they're too judgmental of other people and they're walking like against God. Their body has gone, they're getting the karma for their judgments, but they don't know it because
mm,
they think that they are now above God. Deep toxic pride in their brain, that what's going on is subconsciously, they think like the devil, if you want to call it. They think they are above the one that created them. How delusional have we got as a society? Mad.
yeah.
Because if you think you're better than anyone on a toxic level, that is very delusional and that is not unconditional love. That is the most, you get karma for that. It's horrible.
Mm,
And the person never feels happy, by the way. They're always chasing that superiority in their head. They can never relax and surrender to the present moment. They are so in their head. They are so externally validated. It's mad.
and we thank you for sharing that. And judgment is massive, and we all do it. We do fall into that, and it's something that I've become aware of. Like comparison is massive,
Yeah.
and the judging ourselves and judging others. And when I catch it, for me personally, I forgive myself, and I say I do apologize, and I say forgive
Yeah.
me, and I say that is that something that um helps to get to I don't know, relieve that karma when you actually
Yes.
identify it
Yeah.
and go, oh, forgive me, and
Yes,
then yeah.
because everything you think, say, or do is seen by God, first of all. So even if you had the thought that you were judging person, now you had the thought, right? We can't help our judgments, actually. This is the truth. So you have the judgment, but then you recognize, and that comes back to one word, self-awareness. So that increases your self-awareness. Oh, I judge another person. So you have self-awareness, you did it, and the self-awareness can only come if you want to think that that's wrong. If you don't want to think that it's wrong, you won't have the self awareness. You with me? So you thought that it's wrong to judge someone like that. Other people that judge the same as you don't. So the self awareness that it's wrong doesn't click in. Self awareness is basically unconditional love. It's like separate, it's unity. Self awareness is things that encourage unity, me and you. I don't want to judge you, and other people don't. So yes, the fact that you even had the thought to say that's wrong. I apologize. Sometimes we don't even need to say it in spiritual lingo. Like just have the intention in your mind and say, you don't need to make it formal with God. Just go, that's wrong. I'm sorry. Do you know what I mean? That's not who I
Yeah.
really am. I can't
Mm,
help it. I am, because anyone that you judge is just a trigger, by the way, which is another topic.
mm.
Anyone you judge negatively is a trigger. There's something that you're denying about yourself. You're judging yourself. You're not judging other people that you judge. You're judging yourself. You're judging and denying a part of yourself, your shadow, right? You're judging. It's crazy. We all do it though.
Yeah,
And look,
yeah.
I'm younger than you too. So how old are you, by the way, Syra?
39.
Oh, actually, you're not too younger than me. I'm 38, but because I've lived a life where I haven't stepped up, even though you might think I have in my life, I tend to have it pretty bad. I have a lot of competitiveness in it. It's another reason why I'm going to start stepping up more because the more I work on myself and my vibration, what naturally happens is when you start stepping into your power and more self-awareness is you will naturally stop judging. Judging will always be automatic. um, the levels of judgment are determined by your vibration and your awareness. And if you don't raise your vibration by being honest with yourself, the judgments will carry on. And then what's even funnier in this realm is I've also met people, and I'm judging now, but I've also met people that tell me that I'm a big drama king, and I judge a lot. And don't get me wrong, I do. But the thing is, that person who I know very well that's accusing me of that thing, I honestly, on my heart, know that they do it 10 times worse. So there's delusions upon delusions. What I'm trying to tell you is some people think they don't judge because they're not self-aware, but they think everyone else judges more. It gets crazy. You've got to be
Yeah,
radically honest with yourself. You can't just think everyone else judges so much, but I don't. Come on, we're all humans. We all have trauma. We all judge. The best way to manage judgment is work on yourself, stay on your path, do your thing, help people, which is helping yourself, give value, compassion, help people. These things naturally and grow. This will grow something. This will stop the judgments. They're always going to be there until the point of what Jesus called the kingdom of heaven. Because right now, get this, right now, the kingdom of heaven is upon us and it exists now. It's just called being present. Now, that's easy for me and you to say, but it's bloody hard to do. But the truth
oh
is,
yeah,
Eckhart Tolle was right. It's the power of what Christians don't get this, you know. But yeah, it's being present. Being present is the hardest thing in the world, but that is what God is. God up there watching us, and it helps to see him as a man. So I hope people don't get triggered because he could be the universe or whatever. But it's really helpful I found it really helpful to see him as a man. But God, God God is perfect, and the moment is all that exists. There is no past, present, and future. And God has created a kingdom of heaven and earth where every second of every day, at any point, you can drop into the present moment. Any human can do it. But the problem is, you have to be very conscious and self aware. You can't do it by accident. Oh, actually, you can, Syra. Sometimes some people do it by accident because they've suffered so much. The suffering gets so crazy in their brain and they are self-aware that they just go into the present moment like Tolly on the bench, you know.
yeah, that spontaneous like connection to it all. And I want to just say, like for me, you've talked about Jesus, Yeshua, and Yeshua was a man. He's lived it. He
Yeah,
has ascended, and as ascended master, he went through all of the pain and suffering that we as humans experience. And
yeah,
he is a true reflection of somebody who is godlike and
yes,
a child of God, and showing us how to be in this place of being in the truth of who we are and connecting to God. And I'm not religious. I have never read the Bible. And so Yeshua has been very, very strong in my life over the last 5 months, and it's getting stronger and stronger, and it's helping me build that
cool,
connection
yeah.
with God even more, and everything is pulling me back to what's separating me from God, or what are the things I can do that can bring me back to God, and it's working on the vibration.
That's powerful
And
questions. Didn't you tell me as well that you were saying what would Jesus do? That's not a joke. If you start acting like that, because
yeah,
the Jesus that I was brought up in Catholic, and my interpretation of Jesus was as a child was unconditional love. And then as I grew up and I dated a Christian, an Orthodox Christian too, so their version of Jesus isn't unconditional love. And it confused me. So everyone's got a different version of Jesus in their heads. Like Christians have got a version of Jesus that you need to believe he died and just believe it in your head and you're going to go to heaven. Very weird concept in my head now. But my point is, Jesus is one of in my opinion, he was one of the great awakened beings sent by God at this time. And get this, I've got, look, I don't want to say things that I know because this is just a theory. But what makes Jesus so special to me is I feel he died twice. So not only did he have the most painful death ever in humanity, one of them, right? But before that, he did the hardest thing in the world that is so scary, me and you can't do it now, which is he died before he died. So I don't know what point in his life. Maybe it was in the desert. Maybe it was in the baptism. I believe in the theory that if 30, he was in 30 years of lost time. So he went to India and all these things. At some point, he died before he died, which is very painful. And then he knew. Then his destiny was to die again. The thing is, when you die, sorry, when you die before you die, after that, you don't fear death because when death comes upon you, it's from a place of oneness. So I'm talking about feelings. So normally you're afraid of dying, even if you say you're not. But when you've died before you died permanently, the time when you actually do die, you're gonna have a fear, and the fear is because you don't realize you're not connected to source. But when you die before you die, and then you do die, it's a very peaceful, loving death. You're not afraid because you're still connected to God, and you feel that you're forever. But my point of saying this is Jesus did die before you die, and then he actually had to endure one of the most painful deaths in the world to part of his story. And that would have been that's mad. He had to die twice. And it's hard enough to die once, right?
Yeah, I know, and a lot of and this is one thing when I've been connecting in with him, and it's like baffling me a lot. You know, even my mum was saying, "Are you going Christian?" I'm like, "No, like I
Yeah.
just know this feeling and his presence, and I'm surprised myself." And I started watching The Chosen. I was like, "Oh my
Yeah,
God!"
that's a
Like
good thing. Yeah.
actually, like this isn't just stories. Like actually, he did
He
miracles,
did
and
it.
it's
Yeah.
opening my eyes because it started with a curiosity and everything started to be synchronized, and I was like, oh my God, this is so
Right.
weird.
Yeah.
Why is Yeshua keep coming into my life? I have no idea what's happening here. But one of the
Yeah.
things he said to me is like, I'm not here to like save you, I'm here to show you how to save yourself. And I just
Deep truth.
thought,
Yeah, deep.
whoa, that
Yeah, see,
is
see, see, this is the problem I have with Chris. This I don't want to speak too badly, but this is the problem from my experience dating a Christian Orthodox. My problem with Christianity is that they say that you need to worship Jesus, and it goes as far as that, and that's a beautiful path. The Indians call it bhakti, right? Devotion to God, but it's also a very hard path to awaken. It's almost impossible. But I'm with you. The deepest message of Jesus, and in the Lost Gospels, is he came here to be an example so that you could wake up yourself. In other words, Jesus was talking about self authority, he was talking about self awareness. He wasn't talking about worshipping something that you can't become. He was talking about something, was telling you, I've done it, it's not easy, but if you want it, here you go.
yeah, kingdom of heaven is here for you, heaven on earth, all of that.
Yeah. Right
Yeah,
in the Gospel, it
beautiful.
says right under the your kingdom of earth is not there, here or there. It's right here, right
Mhm.
now, every second.
Yeah. Beautiful. Oh my God, I've really loved this conversation. And just
Me
wrapping
too.
it up, really, we're going to have to get you back on again because I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of
All
it.
right, I have to interview you too, actually. I was meant to tell you, yeah, I'd interview you as well.
Yeah, great, great. And, you know, we are all being asked to step up right now. You're feeling the nudge. We're in the eclipse window as well. And there's a partial solar eclipse happening on Sunday. And there's, you know, with this new moon. And we're really being asked to, you know, everything that's not for us needs to be eclipsed out. And we need to start, you know, really stepping up and do the will of God and
Mm.
be out of our mind and stepping into those, you know, our passion and our purpose without the fear being there and do it anyway, even if fear comes up. And so, have you got, and we'll definitely have to get you back on, have you got any parting words that you would like to share with anybody that you feel is really like on your heart right now?
I think you've done a great job in summarizing. I hope that anyone that's watching this and the right people watching this, if they could take any message from me, it is that I grew up with a lot of trauma and separate fear, which created a lot of separation and delusions, and ironically enough, siren narcissism in my head. So I was extremely, when I was victimized by my family and all these things growing up, it actually turned me, and my isolation actually turned me into an extremely narcissistic. What I mean was, I was so delusional, my self awareness. So what I wish for humanity is to become more honest with yourself. And we don't expect you to be so supremely honest if you're not used to being. It's like everything is baby steps, little baby steps of self awareness and honesty with yourself. Because we're all playing a game of I'm better than this person and I'm worse than this person. Everyone's playing it subconsciously, these patterns. And with more self awareness, we can start having friends where we feel more connection to, and less like, I'm your friend, so I feel so much better than you. Do you know what I mean? and having followers and leaders, and we can start becoming more equal. One final message to everyone is that truly everything is perfect. And if you feel inspired to do something from this interview, then please do it. You have our encouragement. And if you don't, then that's up to you, and I don't judge you anyway. But I wish happiness and trauma release and connection. And I wish, most of all for myself, but for everyone, I wish the peace of God upon all humans. I think it's unrealistic, sorry to say in this life, but I wish more peace in your mind for all humans. I'd say that. Yeah.
Yeah, and yes, she was definitely brought more peace into mine, and I'm still building
Yay, that's
that
good.
relationship. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
And where can
Me
people
too.
find you if they want to work with you or connect with you?
Sure. I haven't set up my businesses properly. I'm gonna do that next year, but I have got a YouTube channel, Holistic Health of Harry, Holistic Health of Harry. So I post regularly on that. I'm on Facebook, Harry Matadine.
I
So
can put the links below.
Matadeen, and my email is harrymatadine@gmail.com. For the time being, those are the three. So yeah, you'll see
Amazing.
me around, I guess, on social.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much for coming on this channel, Harry. It's been great. Honestly, you've got so much wisdom. Thank you for doing the inner work, because that's reflected outwards, and it's a ripple effect to help others step into their authenticity, and really step into their truth of who they are. And so
No, and
um
lastly, thank you for doing these interviews and sharing that, you're pushing yourself outside your comfort zone. And that draws actually more compassion. It helps me because it draws more compassion for you out of me, because I know how that feels. And I'm going to know more in the future as I step up myself, how it feels to be, you know when you see people that are like doing things that you find easy. So you watch someone else doing something you find easy, you're like, oh, I just want to help them, because you know what I mean? So thank you for helping me by
yeah,
stepping up yourself.
and this is it. We're all helping each other, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
beautiful. So thank you, everybody. I hope you found some inspiration from this chat today. And please do like, subscribe, and comment. And yeah, look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a blessed day.